You know, if there's one question I have been asked more than any other about our lives, it's how do you guys afford to go to Disney World all the time? So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that today. Let us start with a disclaimer. I feel like I have to start with disclaimers for every one of our videos. We are not financial gurus. We are not even financially smart or savvy. So any advice or things that I tell you in this video, I don't recommend you do any of them without talking to someone who really knows what they're doing. This has worked for us. We are not in pristine financial shape. We're obviously surviving and doing okay, but just take that for what it's worth. We're just humble people who love Disney, and we do what we can to get there. Okay. So when I think about affording Disney World, I think about a couple of things. Number one, money that we have coming in. Number two, money that we have going out, which leaves us with money we can use for Disney. So I want to start talking about our income, because that matters. So Matt and I are both full-time teachers. We have been both teaching for over 20 years. So our salaries are pretty sufficient for helping us maintain pretty comfortable lifestyle, paying all of our bills, having all the technology that, you know, we need to have. Like, that's all covered by our salaries. So in order to afford Disney, something we had to do was up our income. So Matt and I both have additional gigs that we do, whether it's music arranging or working with Carolina Crown, judging, being clinicians, just those odds and ends that we can do within the pageantry arts, that those little gigs add up and can help us afford Disney a little bit. Something else we do with our income is we set up separate savings accounts so that we are purposely putting money aside for Disney that we don't touch otherwise. So I would recommend setting up separate bank accounts, savings accounts, just to help you put your money where you want it to go. I found that when we just had a checking account and a savings account, anything that was in checking was free game. Like, oh, we got this in our checking account, I can spend it. And the savings account to me was more like a backup to our checking account. So when the checking account got low, we could transfer money over. I never really had an account that was set aside for something. So we actually have multiple savings accounts set up for different things. And we have a savings account labeled Disney Savings. And when we get certain gigs, and we might say, I'm going to do this gig and it's going to go towards a Disney trip. And then we get that check. We set some into our tax savings account because we have a lot of 1099s coming in, and we do pay estimated taxes and make sure we have money set aside to pay that. So we take our chunk and put it in our tax savings, and the rest goes into Disney. So we have that money sitting there. So really that's about it with income. We have our jobs and we have our extra jobs, and we do those extra jobs so that we can enjoy going to Disney World. But then to me, the bigger part is the spending. Because there are lots of things people can choose to spend their money on. We just choose to spend ours on Disney. And what I mean by that is, if we took all the money that we made and put it into a house, we could probably have a really nice house with upgraded finishes and maybe even a cleaning service. We could afford that, but we choose not to. So we live in a pretty modest house in a pretty modest neighborhood here in Indiana. And there's another point to all this as well, is that we live in Indiana, so the cost of living is pretty reasonable. You've seen our videos, like, our house is fine, I'm not complaining, but it's not magazine worthy. You know, we need new flooring in our kitchen. We could definitely use some upgrades throughout the home, but we don't spend our money on that. Spending on ourselves, we are very low maintenance people. I do my own hair color out of a box. I don't get my nails done. I paint my own toenails. Same with our whole family. We don't buy expensive products. We don't buy expensive clothes. We don't shop a lot at all for ourselves. We would rather spend our money on our vacations. So when you're not putting money towards those things, you have more money for other things. I mean, it's just priorities. It's what's important to you. And I am not judging anybody. If you like to have high-end upgrades in your home and that's what you spend your money on, that makes you happy, oh my gosh, great. I mean, I would love to have those things, but priorities, you have to decide what's more important to you. And going on vacations is more important to us than that. That's just us. So that's one part. Money coming in, money going out, what we choose to spend our money on, how we add to our income, that all plays into our Disney trips and our ability to afford them. So something else is we don't vacation anywhere else really, and you can judge us all you want on that. Trust me, people do, including our own family members. But it's not like we go to Disney World twice a year and then we do other vacations on top of that. We really don't. We did squeeze in a trip to New York City. Like, we wanted our kids to be able to see that. I did a road trip one year where I went to Washington, D.C. and did some of that stuff with the kids, but we don't spend extra on that. So all of our vacation money basically goes to the mouse. And we're okay with that. When our kids get older, if they want to explore other places with their own families or, on their own, that's great. They can do that. And trust me, it's not like we're pulling them by the arm to get them to go to Disney World. They love it like we do too. We are also members of the Disney Vacation Club, and that is Disney's version of like their timeshare. And I don't want to go into a lot of details on that. Maybe we can do a vlog on that later, on how all that works for us. But basically, since 2005, that's when we joined Disney Vacation Club, we have been paying monthly for our accommodations at Disney World. So when it comes down to our trip, we just book the accommodation using the points that we are given through Disney Vacation Club. And it's not like we're writing a big check or doing a big credit card hit for our accommodations. We slowly pay for them throughout the year, and we have been paying for them since 2005. Now, we have 3 contracts through Disney Vacation Club. The wind is blowing this around, I'm sorry. We have 3 contracts, so we've already paid off the first 2. We have 1 more to go, and even when the contract is paid off, we still get those points through 2042, I believe. So again, it's been coming out of our bank accounts for 15 years, and so it's just a part of our budget. We don't even really miss that money. It comes out automatically. We know that it's going to come out, but how lovely. When it comes time to book a vacation, we just get on the website and we pick our accommodation, and they take our points out that they're using, and we're done. There's no money transaction at that time. So that eases the blow a little bit. Now, is Disney Vacation Club designed to save you money? No. But the reason we love it, number one, it's a monthly thing. So again, it's just part of your monthly budget, and it doesn't feel like we're shelling out a big chunk of money to stay at a Disney resort. Number 2, and this is the biggest reason why we bought DVC, and we're so glad we did, is that it forces us to take vacations. And when we bought in 2005, Tyson was only 5 years old. Shaylin wasn't even born yet. That's what convinced me, was how in life it's very easy to push things off. Like, well, we can't really afford a vacation this time, or we don't really have time right now, or, maybe we should put new kitchen flooring in and not do a vacation. And then you end up pushing off what you want to do until a better time. And then that better time sometimes doesn't ever come. And so when you're paying monthly for your Disney Vacation Club points, you have to use those points, or else you're paying money for nothing. And so you find time to go on vacation. And that has been the biggest blessing to us. As busy as our lives have been, not right now, of course, but as busy as our lives have been, looking forward to getting away as a family once, twice, 3 times a year, it's everything to us. And so that was worth it. Financially, could we probably do Disney in a cheaper way? Yeah, probably. But DVC works for us. We are also annual pass holders. So we shell out the big bucks to have year-long passes, which is expensive. But again, we budget that. Matt writes so many arrangements, or I teach so many clinics, and we budget that. That's going to buy our annual passes. And then it's wonderful, because then we have the freedom to go down whenever we want. We can use the DVC points. Now Matt's parents actually live about 45 minutes from Disney World, so we could even just hang out with them and go to the parks with our annual passes. So that has been an important way that we can afford Disney World. Now, annual passes, since we've started buying them 15 years ago, have jumped in price a lot. And so we have to keep bumping up our income to be able to keep up with that price. So I don't know when that's going to bottom out. Like, when we just need to retire and move there and work there so we can get in for free. That's the next step. And then one other thing is expenses when we're there. Part of DVC accommodations is there's always a kitchen or kitchenette in your room. And when we go for a long trip, we usually try to get a 1-bedroom villa, which has a full kitchen in it. And so we load up groceries and we try to limit what we're eating in the parks, because I'm sure Disney costs a lot of money. Food is expensive. And so we try to bring our own and eat in our villa as much as we can. We try to do like breakfast, some Pop-Tarts or bagels or whatever. And then maybe we'll go to the parks, and we usually come back for lunch and swimming. And so maybe we have some lunch meats, and then maybe we'll go eat out in the parks just for dinner. So we try to limit our expenses that way. And we drive all the time. It's about 15 hours. We are straight shooters. So we get in the car and we go until we get there. We usually don't stop. And we drive right through the night, which is amazing, because when you're hitting Atlanta and it's 3 a.m, it's usually pretty good to go. So that saves us a lot of money just driving. And thankfully we're able to do that, and we don't mind it. We actually enjoy the road trip, and we save our flying for if it's just Matt and me, or if we find a good bargain. But normally we're driving, so that helps us afford it as well. Okay, so I just rambled on and on and on. I hope that made some sense and answered some questions for you guys. If you were wondering, how do we afford to go to Disney so much? And whether you agree or disagree, that's just our beliefs and what we like and what we do. Thanks for watching. If you have any other questions or thoughts or how you afford to go to Disney World, please put them in the comments so that other people can see other views. Just don't yell at me for going to Disney World all the time. Trust me, I get that enough from friends and family. So, all right, take care, everybody.